evening, everybody, and thank you so much for coming to the annual meeting for the Connecticut chapter. My name is Bean Corcoran, and I am the president of the board of directors for the chapter. I'm also a mom of son, Will. He's 26 years old. And thank you to everyone who is here virtually as well. The mission of the CF Foundation is to cure cystic fibrosis and to provide all people with CF the opportunity to lead long, fulfilling lives by funding research and drug development, partnering with the CF community, and advancing high-quality specialized care. I'd like to take a moment to thank our staff, Dawn Harris, thank you, Dawn, Pam Chudnick, Diane Perillo, our new member, Jamie DeLandro, and Amy Page. Thank you all so much for everything you do. I'd like to also thank the board of directors. If you don't mind standing for a moment. Thank you. We should all be involved in advocacy. It's super simple. There's no reason that you shouldn't be doing it, but 100,000 reasons that you should. So please take out your phones now if you want to, and text Fight CF to 96387. It takes just moments when we need you, and it really makes a huge difference. I'd now like to turn this over to Dawn Harris, our executive director for the Cystic Fibrosis Connecticut chapter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bean. Welcome, everyone. I want to start by saying thank you to Bean. Bean is not just an incredible board president, incredibly caring mom to her son with CF and her whole family, her children, and is really, truly one of the best people I've ever met in my life. So thank you, Bean. And also my mom and dad are here, so don't be offended. You're also the very best people I've met in my life. But Bean, you truly have done so much for the foundation and for the Connecticut chapter. And I appreciate you, and I know the whole staff team and the whole board does, and everybody with CF and their families. So thank you. And the same thanks goes to our vice president, who you're going to hear from later, Tim Lenihan, his wife, Deb, and all the board of directors. Many have been involved for decades and decades, and we truly treasure you all. And I think you know that, but it does not, it always deserves repeating. So thank you. Also, I have to do a quick shout out to the talented staff teammates of mine here. And also to Jamie for helping to put this whole event on, and the whole team as well. But Jamie, you led it, so thank you so much. And to our virtual viewers, which are right here in front of me, welcome to the virtual viewers as well. And we hope there's thousands of you out there. That's a joke. I don't think there are thousands, but that's okay. Let's start off with what the night's going to look like, just so you have a little bit of an idea. On the screen, hopefully. Yes, it's on there. We're going to do the welcome and opening remarks. Then we're going to move to the Connecticut chapter year in review, which we're at now. And then our featured speakers are going to be speaking. We have Megan Colella, a mom to 2 children with CF. We have Dr. Kara Fauché, who is with our national office, CF Foundation. We'll be talking more about her in a moment. And our wonderful Dr. Marie Egan will also be speaking tonight. And then we have our awards and recognition, which is kind of the fun part of the evening. So that's what the evening's going to look like. And we're going to start with our 2023 year in review to give you an idea of how the Connecticut chapter did last year. And that's thanks to all of you, people here, people that are viewing, people that are home that could not make it tonight, that came to events. They walked, they came to our galas, they came to our golf tournaments. They cycled, they did everything they could. They gave major gifts just to help raise money for a cure. So because of all of that, and because of all of you, the Connecticut chapter was able to raise a gross total support and revenue of $1.19 million. So give yourselves a round of applause. Our next part is really important because in order for us to grow this year and raise the revenue we need to fund the science and continue with the goals we need to meet to find a cure, we really need to be introduced to some more companies so that they can sponsor. Companies love to sponsor events. Not only is it tax deductible, but they also get great exposure in the community. So it's really worth doing. And we end up building some incredible partnerships with them and relationships. And they love getting involved with a winning organization like ours. But without you giving us the lead, we really cannot grow, because some people might say, oh, Dawn, have you thought about calling Bill Gates? Well, yes, we have thought about that. So we actually need a connection. It's not just, hey, call Boomer Esiason. We need you to connect us. Give us that foot in the door, the warm lead. So what we've done tonight is throughout the room on some of the high tops, and when you go to leave on the registration table and where the name tags were, there's some little forms. And we just ask that you put your name. There's a sample of it up here. Your name, phone number, your company, but then what your lead is. If you have a lead, it could be your neighbor. You might say, my neighbor's the vice president of Aetna. It could be your mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, friend. Think about your college network, your colleagues, vendors, anything where people have gone to work that have left where you are. Think about it, because we really, truly need your help. And that's going to make all the difference in the world this year and in the coming years. So if you have one, please take just a minute to fill out those forms. It won't take long, and put it, there's a box out there, place it in the box. And next week, we're going to pull one to give you a prize. That way you can be incentivized to do this. We'll pull one name and we'll give you a prize for participating, but we'll also follow up with all those leads that you gave us and with all of you who put a form in so that we can follow up on those leads. So please keep that in mind. That's really one of the most important things of the evening, because that's what it's going to take to make sure we have the revenue to find a cure for CF. We also need new family, civic, community, or other teams for our walks and things like that. Join an event committee. We have volunteer leadership teams that used to be called committees, but it's a volunteer leadership team for our Rose Ball Gala, for our walkathons, for our golf tournament. So please keep that in mind. If you or someone you know wants to join one of those, we really would be indebted to you. On the screen, actually, we already did the corporate connection card, so we'll move past that. Some of the chapter events that go on in Connecticut are Great Strides, which I'm sure you've all heard of, our cornerstone event, Connecticut's Finest, which is our young professionals event. If you know a young professional that deserves to be nominated to be a finest, please let us know. We would love to get them involved. The people that get involved in that absolutely love it and stay involved usually for a long, long time. The golf event, Rose Up, the Rose Ball Gala, and our Breathe Team Marathon, which you'll hear a little bit about later because we're going to honor some of the people that ran the New York Marathon. I'm looking at one of them right now, but you'll see them on stage later. That's all part of our Breathe Team. And then our Milestones 3 program, Driven by a Dream. The Milestones program is our major giving program. So if you know anyone with a family trust or a donor advised fund, or just someone that is a millionaire and you'd like to introduce us to because they want to donate and have a tax deduction, you know who to come to. But seriously, the Milestones program 1, 2, and 3 has been incredibly pivotal, for driving us forward and getting us closer to our goal. It really has been transformational. So that's a very important program. And we also have some programs like CFF Cares, and that's where we have sometimes virtually, sometimes in person. We'll bring people together. It might be a group of moms that have kids with CF that want to talk about things like, oh, my daughter's going to college next year, and your daughter already graduated and had CF. Did she have her own dorm room? Different things like that. These programs are wonderful to connect people, and we're really glad to offer these CFF Cares programs. We also have Tomorrow's Leaders, which is our young professionals networking event or program. And that is also a program that the young professionals have really loved and thrived in. So again, if you have people you know that are interested in getting involved with the foundation and building up their network, Tomorrow's Leaders is the way to go. Our Grampians is just what it sounds. It's our event for grandparents to people with CF, or people, we say grandpersons because it might be the best friends of the grandparents. Maybe they're not actual grandparents to someone that has CF, but they're kind of consider themselves like a grandparent-like person. So anyone like that is welcome to join Grampians. I now have the pleasure to introduce someone who's been a dear friend of ours and whose family has been involved with the Connecticut chapter for over a decade. She and her family have been pillars of the CF Cycle for Life ride, helping in every way they can. She is mother of two incredible daughters, superstars, living with cystic fibrosis, who you'll meet tonight as well. Megan Kallela, please come up to the stage.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for all being here today. My name is Megan, and I stand before you as a parent deeply invested in this cause. Today, I want to share with you the story of my children, Tegan and Skylar, both diagnosed with CF. Tegan in utero and Skylar at birth. Tegan is now 12, soon to be 13, which is hard to believe, while Skylar is 11 years old. Living with cystic fibrosis is an everyday battle that significantly impacts our lives. It demands an enormous amount of treatment time, often robbing Tegan and Skylar of the activities that other children enjoy. Just this past year, Tegan spent several weeks in the hospital, disrupting not only her life, but our entire family's routine. And she's now just starting to go back to school, which makes her very, very happy. However, amidst the challenges, we find hope in the progress made by the CF Foundation. With the support of our sponsors, donors, and volunteers, our efforts are translating into real results and life-changing treatments. Skylar, for instance, has experienced a dramatic improvement since starting Trikafta, with virtually no symptoms of the disease. While Tegan hasn't been able to fully take Trikafta due to her liver issues, we remain hopeful that she'll soon have access to a similar therapy with fewer side effects. Our hope for the future is simple yet profound. We long for our children to reclaim the precious time stolen by treatments and hospitalizations. Ultimately, our greatest aspiration is for a cure, one that will free Tegan, Skylar, their cousin Atlas, and countless others from the grip of cystic fibrosis. I want to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to the volunteers, sponsors, and donors who stand with us in this fight. Your unwavering support fuels our hope and propels us closer to a future where cystic fibrosis is no longer a threat. Together, let us continue to rally behind the CF Foundation's mission, knowing that every step forward brings us closer to a world where Tegan, Skylar, Atlas, and all those affected by CF can live without limitation. Thank you, guys.
Megan, thank you so much for sharing your story. We really, truly appreciate that. I now have the pleasure, you guys get to meet Tegan and Skylar. They are our CF Star Award winners, and they are incredible siblings. Tegan is 12, Skylar is 11, and they have a little brother. I say new little brother because I haven't met him yet, but he's now 1.5, TJ. And they are great big sisters to TJ and wonderful role models. You both have been a huge part of the cycle event when your grandma and grandpa helped chair it, and you've been there since the very beginning, since you were little babies, and we were so honored to know you then and now. And you really played an inspirational part because you would inspire those cyclists who are taking part to do this for you and to fundraise for you both and for everyone with CF, but you were the ambassadors. So you guys should be very proud of what you've done already in your young, short life already. It's just been amazing. So Tegan and Skylar, we have a little award for you and a little present. We'd love you to come up and get it on the stage.
But I said that.
Huge congratulations to Tegan and Skylar, our stars of the evening. We're so proud of you. By the way, was this your first award or have you won other awards? You've won other awards? Oh my goodness, this is not even their first award at age 11 and 12. They are truly superstars. The future is all yours. I can't wait to see what you will be doing next year. I now have the pleasure to introduce our guest speaker who flew in today to be with us. She is Senior Director of Genetic Therapy Programs here at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and her name is Dr. Kara Fauché. Kara resides and is a native of Northern Virginia. She received her BS in biology from the College of William and Mary, her PhD in cell biology from Georgetown, and completed postdoctoral training in the Department of Human Genetics at the University of Chicago. Basically, she's very smart, is what that's saying, because that's a lot. Kara joined the CFF 4 years ago and is a leader on the science team where she manages the industry-based genetic therapy portfolio. Outside of work, she enjoys food, yoga, and life with her husband, 2 kids, Bella and Ryan, and dog Ziggy. Kara, please join us on stage.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. My intro used to say that I was an avid runner. And the first chapter event I did, I finished up and they said, do you want to run the marathon with our team? And so I've taken that out of my, by avid, I mean short distances often. So yeah, yoga feels safer. But no, thank you so much for the incredibly warm welcome. I am thrilled to be with you guys tonight. Representing headquarters. And I especially want to thank the chapter staff, the board of directors. Bean, it was so lovely to chat with you earlier today. Thank you for all you do, as well as the care team members who are here tonight from the Central Connecticut CF Center, the pediatrics at Connecticut Children's, Columbia University, Cystic Fibrosis Center at Stanford, the Marie and Raymond Beauregard Adult CF Center at Hartford Hospital, Yale University School of Medicine Center, Pediatrics and Adult Programs. Thank you for the specialized care that you give people with CF all year long. Sorry. Sneak preview. Okay, let's try that. All right, I think there's a play button. That's what I hit. So we got to be careful. As you know, we have a powerful story that began in 1955 when a determined group of parents and families banded together to form the CF Foundation. Like many of you in the audience tonight, they were touched personally by cystic fibrosis. Today, nearly 70 years later, we stand on their shoulders. And it's because of you that we're at this momentous point in our history. Tonight, I have the opportunity to share with you some of the extraordinary progress we've made over the past year and to give you a glimpse into the exciting work ahead. But none of this work would be possible without the unwavering support of every one of you in the room tonight, as well as the volunteers, donors, and champions in the CF community across the country. Sorry, I'm failing at this. I don't need to tell you, but the mission of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is to cure cystic fibrosis and to provide all people with CF the opportunity to lead long, fulfilling lives. And our work toward that mission is grounded in 3 key areas. The first is cure. We bring the best scientific minds and technologies into cystic fibrosis research to catalyze the generation of transformative therapies. Care. We apply the principles of our pioneering care model to optimize health for people with CF in this changing post-pandemic, post-Trikafta CF landscape. We also support the training of the next generation of CF care team members, ensuring that they are ready to support people with CF until a cure is found. And community. We continuously seek new and meaningful ways to engage with the community, to enhance our support for life with CF, and to expand the reach of our programs and services to all of those in need. People with CF are living longer than ever. This year, the median predicted age of survival for a person born with CF today has reached 56 years, which is unbelievable. That's right. What's even more unbelievable is that that number has gone up since I did these chapter events last year. And so we know that it's going to continue to rise and that people with CF will continue reaching new milestones. Today, at least 57% of adults with CF have full or part-time jobs. At least 41% of adults with CF have a college degree. And in 2022, there were at least 635 pregnancies among women living with CF. These numbers represent real progress. Yet we know that not everyone living with CF is able to celebrate such milestones, particularly if they cannot benefit from the existing treatments. And that is why we remain steadfast in our commitment to find a cure. We want every person with CF to live a long and healthy life. One reason for the progress I just outlined is certainly the transformative effect of new treatments, especially CFTR modulators, small molecule therapies that address the underlying cause of CF by improving function of the CFTR protein. We now have 4 modulators, which combined can treat almost all people with CF, depending on their mutations. CF-causing mutations can occur across the gene. You guys are going to get sciencey. I'm going to use my pointer. CF mutations occur all the way across the CFTR gene, and the location of where the mutation occurs can dictate how severely it affects the CFTR protein. For some mutations, like F508del, modulators can bind to that CFTR protein and improve its function, helping it to fold correctly, move to the cell membrane, and open to transport chloride. Because these therapies have been so transformative, it's critically important that we continue to expand modulator access, including to young children, to support research toward the development of new modulators, like the work from Sionna, which you may have seen in the news today, and to continue to study the effects of modulators on overall health and on treatment regimens. Another reason for our tremendous, I have really long nails. And so I'm struggling here. Okay, there we go. You guys got to tell me if it starts playing. Okay, so another reason for the tremendous progress is our steadfast commitment to innovation. Today, there are 16 approved therapies for people with CF. But again, we know that not everyone with CF can benefit from CFTR modulators. And many who can take modulators continue to struggle with complications associated with CF, as well as with side effects. And that's why we continue to be aggressive in driving research forward. In addition to strengthening our vital academic research community, where technology is discovered and the infrastructure to support CF drug development pipeline is built, we're also funding more than 50 industry research programs through collaborations with leading and emerging biotech and venture capital firms. This past year, we continued to accelerate the Path to a Cure initiative, an initial $500 million commitment to ensure the world's best science is applied to our mission and that all people with CF, regardless of their mutation, can have a transformative therapy. All right. Within the Path to a Cure initiative, which is near and dear to my heart because it's what I work on day in and day out, we're aggressively pursuing research into genetic therapies, a new and rapidly evolving science that we believe is our best chance to treat those who are not eligible for CFTR modulators, and our best chance to eventually find a cure. Genetic therapies, very simply, are approaches that fix the DNA via gene editing. So that's an actual change to the DNA in your cells, or replacement or addition of another copy of the DNA or RNA via gene therapy or RNA therapy. With the delivery of a new non-mutated DNA or RNA into cells of the lung, these approaches enable production of a non-mutated, fully functional CFTR protein, so they can work for all people with CF, even when modulators cannot. One other type of nucleic acid therapy, short nucleotides or oligos, is another approach that can mask the effects of mutations, and Dr. Egan will talk a little bit about that later tonight. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay, so genetic therapies are really exciting, but there are a lot of challenges facing their development. And that's because they're very different than therapies like CFTR modulators. For one, they're huge. The structures and molecular weights of Trikafta on the left and CFTR mRNA, which is just one part of one type of genetic therapy, are shown here. Practically speaking, their size difference is about equal to the size difference between a kumquat and a watermelon. And I think that's pretty clear. The watermelon would be hard to deliver. Because of this big size and the relative sensitivity of nucleic acids, which can be degraded inside the body, they require protective covers, which we like to call delivery vehicles. And you've probably heard people at the foundation, maybe myself, talk about common delivery vehicles like adeno-associated virus, or AAV, or lipid nanoparticles, often called LNPs. What's important to understand is that genetic therapies can't diffuse throughout your entire body like modulators do. In order to be effective, these delivery vehicles must be targeted to and then taken up by the cells and organs that are affected by CF. And this is likely the biggest barrier facing successful development of effective genetic therapies for CF. We like to think of the development of genetic therapies as an evolution. The first therapies approved may not be the best. Think back to ivacaftor as compared to Trikafta today. we anticipate there will be iterations and future versions of these therapies that will continue to be more effective and hopefully to have fewer side effects. And although we're initially focusing on delivering genetic therapies to the lung only, the ultimate goal is to develop genetic therapies that can be delivered to the entire body, fixing CF in all organs. Now, we recognize that this is not an easy goal. And a few of the challenges we're facing include delivering enough of the genetic therapy to target cells, but also limiting the amount of CFTR in tissues that do not normally express it. In addition, we need to better understand the lung's immune response to ensure that it doesn't fight off a genetic therapy, like it might fight off a cold or another virus. Although some of this genetic medicine may sound futuristic, these are not someday approaches. COVID vaccines are a form of mRNA therapy. And you've probably also heard of new genetic therapies, which are now available for sickle cell disease and Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I'm sorry. This is terrible. Okay. So, while we still have a lot of work to do in CF, we now have 5 CF genetic therapy trials that are ongoing or starting in the next few months, and a few that should even start to wrap up their early phases this year. And we're pushing forward because we know how urgently CF treatments and a cure are needed. We're making very smart, well-informed investments and connections with new science, positioning ourselves at the forefront of this field. And that means that we are going to encounter some failures. But every research failure is an important discovery itself, because it tells us what to rule out and what to progress, moving us one step closer to a solution. And I can promise that we will not stop until it's done. To further accelerate research progress, therapeutic breakthroughs, we purposefully work to bolster emerging research, cultivate a robust pipeline for drug development, build a therapeutic development ecosystem, and train care team members knowledgeable in the newest technologies. Our state-of-the-art lab in Lexington, Massachusetts is a one-of-a-kind focused entirely on CF. The lab serves as a scientific hub, developing resources, materials, tools, training scientists, and enabling industry and academics to make progress faster. We also fund the Multi-Center CF Therapeutics Development Network, or TDN, which brings together top CF researchers from around the world to review clinical trial plans and to provide infrastructure for training clinical research staff. Over the past 25 years, the CFF TDN has successfully conducted more than 150 clinical trials. To pave the way for approved genetic therapies for CF, we've also begun meeting with the FDA about clinical trial designs to ensure genetic therapies can move forward despite a smaller patient population. And because no two CF journeys are alike, our mission is reliant on the expertise, guidance, and experience of people living with CF. Community Voice is a virtual opportunity for people with CF and their families to share their experiences and their perspectives to help shape our priorities in research, care, and beyond. Marie, you should let them use the clicker for you. I'm sorry. In addition to our research and drug development, we continue to focus on supporting exceptional multidisciplinary care through our network of more than 130 accredited CF centers across the country. By partnering closely with people with CF and their families, these dedicated care teams, many of whom are here tonight, are working to meet the changing and complex needs of a growing CF adult population, addressing the many complications associated with CF, including infection, CF-related diabetes, GI disease, advanced CF lung disease, and mental health. We know that lung infections remain a top concern for people with CF, and we're pursuing new ways to treat drug-resistant infections. One approach involves phage therapy, which uses viruses to target and kill bacteria. And Marie will talk a little bit about that later as well. We move our mission forward through advocacy, continuing to work with leading policymakers in Congress and federal agencies to encourage the development of novel antibiotics and other needed medications, and to promote affordable access to them. At the state level, we've ensured that the needs of people of CF are at the center of analyses on drug pricing and healthcare coverage. And we're constantly monitoring insurers to swiftly address any inappropriate actions around coverage. Central to the Foundation's mission is ensuring that we are helping all people with CF, people who represent all communities, races, ethnicities, and identities. Last year, in partnership with the CF community, we continued our work to advance equity, racial justice, diversity, and inclusion by completing recommendations and beginning to address health disparities outcomes, care and research experiences, and feelings of inclusion. The establishment of the Foundation's newborn screening initiative to assess the newborn screening process and achieve nationwide best practices is one example of a path toward improved health outcomes for all people with CF. We also continued collaborating with CF organizations and care providers in other countries. To date, our collaborative efforts have expanded access to CF care and treatment in more than 30 countries, including low and middle-income countries. As the experiences of people with CF evolve, the Foundation is evolving right alongside our community. We ensure opportunities to foster connection so we can best understand the needs of the community and how to support and serve them. I invite you to scan the QR code on this slide to connect with Compass, to learn more about our many support programs and how to get involved with our CF community. To propel our mission forward, we rely on currently available financial resources and strong fundraising success every year. Because of you, in 2023, we raised nearly 90 million in net revenue from more than 200,000 donors worldwide. Yeah, round of applause. Our Milestones 3 Driven by a Dream campaign surpassed the $150 million mark, raised from more than 900 donors. And we have $50 million to go to meet our campaign goal of $200 million by the end of this year. We also held the 4th Rose Up campaign, a dynamic program led by adults with CF, which raised more than $535,000 in 2023. If you were able to support the Foundation financially last year, thank you. Thank you very much. We deeply appreciate and need your support. Please rest assured that we steward our resources with great care, maximizing the impact of all funds given so that we can deliver on our mission. Before I wrap up today, I'd like to take a minute to honor the legacy of our beloved friend and philanthropic leader, Joe O'Donnell, who passed away earlier in January. Joe's unwavering commitment helped raise more than $500 million toward the CF cure. Joe and his family have advanced the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation's mission for 4 decades in honor of their son, Joey, who died from CF in 1986. They created the Joey Fund, which works in partnership with the foundation as a tribute to him. Joe helped launch the CF Congressional Caucus, served on our Board of Trustees, and received the Dream Big Award in 2016. Notably, he chaired the Milestones 1, 2, and 3 campaigns, which have fueled transformative scientific progress. But we are far from done. All gifts made to the CF Foundation allow us to continue in Joe's spirit, advancing our most important work to find a cure for cystic fibrosis. Thank you. Seriously, I apologize for the slides, but I want to wrap up by just from the bottom of my heart, thanking you for your support, your passion, your resilience, helping us to make sure that everyone living with CF can have a bigger, brighter future. Together, we can change lives. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to introduce someone that needs no introduction. I thought I had one, but she needs no introduction. She is a pediatric CF care provider at Yale. She is a fun lady to hang out with, always dressed to the nines. And earlier tonight, I asked her, I said, well, tell me, how much time do you spend in the clinic versus how much time in research? And she said, well, I'm 25% clinic, 75% research. But if any of you know Dr. Egan, you know she is 100% heart and 100% dedicated to all people with CF. So Dr. Egan, come on up. Thank you so much.
Okay, go ahead. All right. That's me. Okay. You can go to the next one too. Okay, so I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation to talk tonight. I thought I would give a little just a little update on what's going on and in CF at our center and in Connecticut. And I thought we just had this incredible talk, right, about all the things the foundation's doing, all the initiatives, all the research, all the programs. So it's super global and very exciting. But I want you guys to get a taste of what all of that does at the foundation. A lot of it comes back also to Connecticut. So I want to tell you some stories about some of the things we're doing and some of the things that we're doing, almost everything that we're doing. The foundation helps us fund. So it's a lot of new research and clinical trials and a bunch of stuff. All right, next. So you've seen this pipeline. It's very exciting. We have lots of clinical trials and lots of gene therapy, some more modulators, a lot of stuff on the anti-infectives because we want to make sure people don't have a lot of inflammation and infection. And this is super exciting. Next slide, please. And then for us at Yale, in the pediatric group especially, but we've been doing a couple of clinical trials, and every center in the state does these clinical trials, and we try to complement each other so that this is just a small snippet of what's getting done at our site. So we've been doing a clinical trial on Trikafta for really young children. So we know that it's been approved down to age 2. So now we have a trial to really look at what happens when you're on Trikafta at age 2. And we're following a whole bunch of parameters to see how that changes the whole face of CF. And that's called the NEMO study. So that's why NEMO is there. We also were part of another study that's kind of exciting too, where the modulators, you know how you take them in the morning and in the evening, and the pills in the morning are different than the pills in the evening. Well, it's really because of one of the drugs, ivacaftor, and there's a new formulation where all 3 drugs are given only once a day, and you only have to take pills once a day. And I think for many folks that I talk to, the fewer times I have to do pills, the better it would be. So that was called the Skyline study, and that just finished. And the data is pretty exciting, and I think it's going to be more apparent, probably around the time of NACFC when they get done going through all the data. But the bottom line preliminary word was all thumbs up. And we've also been doing another study where we monitor pretty much a lot of folks who are on Trikafta to see, what happens over time. And if there are any rare side effects that weren't picked up very early on, what are they and what do we need to watch for? We're also working on a bunch of infectives, and there are a bunch of phage studies. So we'll talk a little bit about phage. And I have to do a shout out to John Koff, who is our adult CF Center Director, because he's doing a lot of the basic research along with Paul Turner and Ben Chan, who are here. They have a whole giant phage center. So what are phages? They're little viruses that don't affect you or me or any other human, but they are really not so nice to a lot of the bacteria that are troublesome in the lungs when you have CF. So Pseudomonas, for instance, you can find phage, which is a little virus, and it's like your Pseudomonas gets the flu or it gets COVID, and it just kills the Pseudomonas, but it doesn't do anything to you, so not to worry. So this is really important for certain bacteria because we get lots of drug resistance and we want to try to still be able to kill them. So if you inhale phage, you can often get your Pseudomonas to die. And people are all over the country are doing different bacteria. So some people are looking at phage for staph. Some people are looking at phage for a non-tuberculous mycobacterium. So all of these sorts of organisms that we know cause trouble in the community, people are developing phage for. So that's really kind of cool. Then there's anti-inflammatories and how to move mucus up, and nutritionally there are studies, and we're going to get a little sense of what's going on. And then there's nucleic acid therapies too. So we heard about gene addition. So there are studies that are in the clinic now for that. mRNA, there are 2 studies that are in the clinic for that. And then the oligonucleotides, the little bits of RNA, they mask splice sites, and there's a clinical trial there. So for those nucleic acid therapies, something that's kind of fun and exciting is that we've just been asked about the gene addition therapies, and we've been asked about the splice sense study. So those are things that we might be doing in the next year to come. So these are things that are really coming to the clinic, and they're coming to Connecticut. And I think the other thing that's kind of cool is within the nucleic acid area, we're really, we've always been a tight community where we all work together. But when it comes to these therapies and when it comes to doing the clinical trials, they're really very different than any of the other clinical trials we've been doing. So we're working together in consortiums. So all of the groups in Connecticut are working with the groups in New York so that we can all come together, make sure that the availability of these clinical trials as they come down the pipeline are there for everyone, and that we're not all trying to do the same exact study, because that's just going to be not good for anybody, because we won't all be expert. So that's very exciting. Next one, please. All right, back to the pipeline. Again, just all the different kinds of therapies. Next, and I just want to say one other thing. It was 2019 when I was asked, which I still don't understand why, to give a plenary at the NACFC on introducing genetic therapies, or what was possible after Trikafta came out. Where was our next steps? And at that point, there was nothing. We were just starting to think about a pipeline, but there was really nothing there. And we were just starting to build it. And I think it's super exciting to think about. I know it's 2024, but that was just a few years ago. And we've already gone from having it just be an idea and a dream to having a lot of things being clinical trials. So adding a new copy of CFTR, it's in clinical trials. I didn't really think that was going to be true 4.5 years ago. New copies of mRNA that codes for CFTR, also in clinical trials. Again, who could have thought that was going to happen so fast. And then the same thing with the oligonucleotides that mask the mutation. And then the gene repair systems, those are gene editing. Those are still preclinical, and I would have bet they would still be preclinical. But those are moving equally as fast. So this is moving very, very quickly. But for the repair systems, before we can get there, but as a clinical trial, we really need a lot of science done beforehand. Could you go to the next slide, please? And what I want to talk to you about is some of that science. I'm going to give you examples of the science from the research group at Yale. So we have a great care center. We have a great care team. We also have all these other people that you don't necessarily see unless you've come to visit the labs, which a number of people I know have. And if you ever want to come, just call us up. We give tours. But at the Yale Pediatric CF Center, there's a couple of us that work both in the clinic and in the science. And then some of us that are all science all the time. So I want to just point out Tom Murray, who is one of our pediatric infectious disease doctors. He's also our CF specialist in PDID, and he comes to clinic and he does consults, but he also runs a lab, and he's somebody who studies all of those bacteria. He likes to call them the bugs. And he actually even has little stuffed animals of them all. But he does incredible science at looking at the organisms, how they grow, where they grow, how you respond to them. And so he also works with Dr. Manuela Bruscia. Dr. Bruscia is a scientist. She is super excited about understanding the immune response in CF and the inflammation. So that's really important because we know it underlies a lot of what goes on in CF. It's what, all that mucus you make and make and make and make. Sometimes it's at the response of your immune cells that say, there's an invader here, or there's something going on here, and you start to make more of it. So she studies this, not only in human samples, but she uses a lot of mouse models. So this is why we have lots of cartoons. It's just easier. And she and Tom work together to look at how the bugs affect the immune response and how the immune response affects the bugs. And they do a lot of projects together. And then I spend a lot of time doing some of that nucleic acid work. So some of that gene editing work. And it's really important for us to have all three of us together because they're all going to interact if we're trying to develop therapies like those gene editing therapies and understand how does the body respond to when you try to deliver that? How does the infection affect how well you're going to be able to do all that editing? So we all work together on this floor, and there's lots of people that work with us, and it's super exciting. But a lot of the work that we do, and we'll talk about each little thing, is funded by the CF Foundation. Next slide, please. So here, Emanuela, most important, we have a healthy airway, and we have an airway that is from cystic fibrosis. And you can see, like here, look at all this mucus, right? There's tons of mucus in that airway, and it just plugs it off. So she studies how the immune response is kind of out of control sometimes, how we have dysregulation of certain cells that help fight infection, and how can we develop therapies that'll allow things to, you want to fight infection, but you want it to be like controlled. And so she's got a whole bunch of cool things that are in development. And so that might actually one day populate some of that pipeline for the anti-inflammatories. She's got a whole bunch of folks that work in her lab. And in fact, one of her students last year won the Basic Science Physician Young Investigator Award at the NACFC. So there's a lot of incredible work going on, and a lot of that work is funded by the foundation. Can you go up next one, please? And then from an inflammation standpoint, we're always trying to build bridges, right? So Emanuela and I mentor somebody in my lab next. And he also works with Dr. Clemente Brito. If you don't know Dr. Brito, he's our associate director of the adult program. And Dr. Brito works on this inflammation in CF. And what he does is he looks at it, sometimes people are like, well, go down into the airway, get a bronchoscope, pull out some cells, really sort of invasive. Clemente has learned how to collect those cells to understand them and see what's going on in sputum. So, mucus and sputum is something most of us produce. And then he can take it to the lab and do really specialized techniques called single cell RNA-seq and show what kind of cells are in everybody's mucus. You can see if you have CF, the cells that are there are really different than if you don't have CF. And now he can also have a really good understanding of what happens when you take a modulator. Because you take a modulator, right? And now all the cells, even those cells that were in your sputum, get exposed to the modulator. So we can see what happens to the cells when you have CF and you're on a modulator. Can you hit the next slide? So in the adults, we found that there are a bunch of different populations of these cells in CF that aren't there in people who don't have CF. So one of the newer pediatric pulmonary scientists in the group, Dr. Tuba Kokar, she's a fellow. She is now looking to see if those differences are already there when you're really young, right? Is this something that just happens as you get older and more infection and there's more disease? Or is this something that we see really early in CF? So she's getting sputum or mucus from young patients and doing similar studies and looking at them on and off modulators. And so she's found some pretty exciting things. You can see these changes early on, but once you start modulators, these changes change in that they go back to not looking like CF, looking like you don't have CF. So it's very, very exciting. And it suggests the earlier we can treat, the easier it is to change that path so that you're not over-inflamed all the time. And this, again, just to let you know, that work from Tuba, she's funded by the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. So these are all things where money going into research is really also coming back to a location near you. The other thing we do at my lab is some nucleic acid therapy. So we're really interested in looking on how do we fix the problem, right? How do we make that protein really function well? So we thought we'd start, in the DNA, we got trouble in the DNA. So there's that mutation. Could we design things that could basically, like molecular glue and scissors, fix the DNA? And we found that we use this approach called a PNA, and we give a donor DNA and we put it in a nanoparticle. So a nanoparticle, like lipid nanoparticles, we use something called polymeric nanoparticles. And we've done this, and I think I've actually shown this to you guys in other years. We can put these particles together. We haven't given them humans. We've given them human cells. That's the in vitro work. Those are supposed to be little cells. We also have animal models where we can give this to a mouse who has CF. We have a bunch of mice who have CF and different mutations. So we can give that to them and have them inhale it. We can also give it to them systemically. So we can give it to them in a vein. And what we want to really understand is if we give these nanoparticles with the specialized PNA to do gene editing, can we get changes in our mice so that they look like they don't have CF anymore? And the answer is, from an inhalation standpoint, we can definitely do that. We can also do it from a systemic standpoint, but the efficiency right now is really, really low. So we have a lot of work to do to understand how do we fix that. So this is really kind of cool stuff. So we can do this in a mouse model, but it's still a very long way from being able to do it in humans. And that's what we need to really be able to study. So I wanted you to think about those PNAs, because next, please, we're going to talk a little, there's a CFTR mutation, that was better. we can also take these PNAs and we can design them a little different, but we can also take them and we can use them to mask over certain mutations that are called splice site mutations. So why would we want to do this? Well, for some people, not a lot of people, they have this change in their CFTR gene that introduces what we call a cryptic splicing site. So by introducing that, what happens is as you go from the DNA to the RNA, so you're going from a blueprint to the instruction book, suddenly you make an abnormal mRNA and then you don't make good CFTR protein. So what we know is that it's just a little change in the gene in this one little area that's not important for the overall mRNA coding that kind of exists right on the side of it. So if you could mask over that cryptic splicing site, which means if you could develop just a little PNA, a couple little nucleotides, and put it over that site, then suddenly there's no splicing. You can't actually recognize it. And then you make normal RNA and you make normal CFTR. So people are doing this. That's like this, what the splice sense study is. But we use PNAs because they're more durable. We'd be able to use this, do this. You'd have to inhale it less frequently, and it might actually last a lot longer. So we developed the PNA. There's this particle, a nanoparticle. It's another delivery system with this special polymer called PACE. And we've been treating cells in a dish, human cells in a dish. And then we look at the current to see how much CFTR rescue we can get. And so we've been starting these studies and it's all looking super promising. So this again is another approach where we're going to do genetic therapy. And this is a pilot study from the CF Foundation. The cells we use are from patients. So we'll scrape your nose and grow you up in a dish. And then we can treat you and see if we can rescue your CFTR. Next, please. Then one other study that we're doing, so another super exciting area is mRNA replacement. So we talk about replacing messenger RNA. That's the instruction book, right? So again, this is already in human trial, but we also have an approach where we use that human mRNA, we use that PACE, that same polymer, and we can actually give it to our little CF mice again, and we can check to see if we can get human CFTR expression in the mice. And we can. So just a little, again, I won't bore you with too much science, but these little bands here, the band C, this is human CFTR in our mice after treatment at 24 and 72 hours. We do this assay called the nasal potential difference. I don't know if anyone's had it done, where we can look to see the electrophysiology of your nose. You can see chloride secretion in your nose. I've had it done to me. Not really terribly pleasant. The mice don't complain, but when someone sticks a little electrode up your nose and perfuses you with saline, your eyes here, you want to sneeze, you can't. But we can see if your CFTR is working. And when we treat our mice, the lower this goes, the more CFTR. This is the dotted line. So here CFTR is working, here no. And look what happens once we give this. After we give the mRNA, we give it a couple of 24 hours, we get this big change. And this is, I know you're not going to believe me, this is lungs from the mice. So this green is all CFTR expression. So here treated, we can see human CFTR in the lung. Here, no, because it's not treated. And so a mouse shouldn't really have human CFTR. But so this is, again, mRNA therapy. So these are the things that are going on in clinical trial now. But this is just to show you that in the mouse model, we can see this too. Next. All right, so new initiatives. So the foundation had a bunch of new initiatives this year because, it's not all about the lungs, Marie. It's not only about the infection. It's about what happens to diabetes. How does that develop? It's about what happens in the GI tract. Why do people get meconium ileus? Why do they have DIAS? Next, and so we've a new group building those bridges again. Emmanuel, myself, Dr. Amin, Nadia Amin is a GI doctor who is also a physician scientist who's studied CFTR for a very long time. In fact, she is one of the first people to identify high expressor cells within the gut and then of CFTR. And then Lisa Kornikova is a newer person who's never done CF before, but she's an incredibly strong developmental immunologist. But we're all working together to understand what drives meconium ileus and DIAS, and we're using a mouse model. We think it has a lot to do with how the gut develops, how the immune response develops, because we know about a whole bunch of things that are going on in the gut at that time and what gut microbes are there. So this is a new approach, and we're going to learn much more, but we have to learn more because we don't know a lot about what really drives this process. And this is something that affects everybody who has CF. Everybody has GI issues. How does things move through your GI tract? When does the GI tract not develop well? So this, again, is another new initiative that came out from the CF Foundation, and we were able to get funding to do this work. And we also have, after we do it in mice, there are human samples that we can start to look at this to really understand. And wouldn't it be cool if we could figure out a way to intervene before the trouble starts? Okay, next, please. So I just wanted to give you a sense of all of those I think they're called really cool and exciting and very fun new initiatives. We have a couple of others as well, but again, the night is getting long and we have lots of awards to all win, right? And so I want to thank the foundation, patients and their families, because you guys are the ones who inspire us. You're the ones who tell us what's really going wrong in your lives, so that we know the textbooks, we know the data, we know the dogma, but you're the ones who have the excellent little questions and the little things that happen that can't be explained, that make us want to go and understand what's going on, right? Because that's the only way we're going to really make things better. The care team that I work with is so extraordinary. I am the luckiest person in the entire world. And the research team and community, again, I work with the most amazing people, and it just is such a pleasure to be able to really be able to investigate and try to make sure we make things better. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry if I took too much time.
I didn't pick that tune, but it was good. Nice. Thank you, doctors, for reminding me why I'm not a doctor. No, very informative. I love the passion. And I understood some of every other word, I think, so it was good. For you who don't know me, my name is Tim Lenahan. I'm on the vice president of the board of directors for the Connecticut chapter of cystic fibrosis. And I'm a father of 2 children with cystic fibrosis who might be watching tonight, Amy, 26, and Jason, 28. And Jason just recently got his PhD in organic chemistry last July. And actually interned for a summer under Dr. Egan, so it was pretty exciting. And he'll translate it and dumb it down for me, so I'll get the easy version. Anyway, so again, thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to do the fun part, the awards. And let's see, it's my pleasure to recognize the individuals who have done so much, and we'll announce your name. And when you get a chance, come on up here and get your award. And then there's an opportunity to take a picture with Ben back there. He's by that big sign there. So if you have people with you want to, maybe you can sneak over and jump in for the picture. And they'll be available on the CF Facebook website. And also, I believe an email blast will go out that'll contain the link to the picture, so you'll be able to get those. They're what, $4.95 a piece, and no, free. just load them off. The awards we're giving out tonight was created by our beloved hero, Paul Jury. Many of you know Paul Jury. We lost him in 2016, unfortunately. Devoted CF supporter. He worked for the foundation. He was a great painter, great sense of humor, but a great painter. And while we don't have Paul anymore, we do have his pointillism type paintings that live on. And you'll see a beautiful example of that. And he's probably done on over 100 paintings throughout the country. They're absolutely gorgeous. I got to get with his wife to see if there's somehow we put a book together, because I think it'd be a great seller for a coffee book to get all his paintings, and how much he's probably weighs over $1 million with his paintings over the years. So absolutely fantastic. So again, we get those great pictures there. And again, the picture you'll see here is the significance, as it was noted here, is a child embracing a beautiful life by reaching out and embracing the beauty that the future holds, which is what we'll be able to provide to a lot of people with CF today with raising the money. And again, I don't know, could you hold up just to see? I don't know if they can see it from there, but just to, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just a nice little hand reaching out to touch a flower with a butterfly on it. So you guys who get the awards, you should treasure them and share them and show all your friends how good it is. All right, so to kick off the award tonight, we're going to start with the care centers, which are a very important part of the whole CF community and the treatment. My wife and I, Deb, we're very happy to have the care center from Hartford, which was a children's hospital. They're here tonight. I believe has seen a few of the doctors we've known over the years. They really help put you at ease, help guide you through the process, and help you when there's things that don't always go right. And it's great to honor them tonight. So when I mention your care center, please come up and we'll get the award that'll be handed out by Kara here. And I'm going to get your picture down there. And we're going to kind of keep it at a little fast pace just so you get home before the street lights go on. Although it's too late for that, I think. Yeah. All right, so if you're a member of the care team and you're here, come on up. And I'll mention you, after I mention your name, come on up and we'll go from there. So the first care team is the Central Connecticut CF Center, the Pediatrics at Connecticut Children's. I know Dr. Lappin's here. Arby's here, yep. Way to go. All right, and the other, the next, not to take your thunder, but go get your picture when you're done. The Columbia University Cystic Fibrosis Center at Stanford, are they here tonight? Oh, Bean's going to accept for them. Oh, you work? Oh, that's right. Bean's thanks, Bean. Bean's very busy with all kinds of activities. She's also involved with the Columbia University Cystic Fibrosis Center. All right, the Maureen and Raymond Beauregard Adult CF Center at Hartford Hospital. Anyone here for that tonight? Here we go. Thanks, Amy. I see Amy. So any background on the Marie and Raymond Beauregard? Who are they? Are they big donors of the family or the? I just want them to give them a little plug for the supporting of the foundation. All right, thank you again. I'd like to recognize the Yale University School of Medicine CF Center, the pediatric program. All right, here we go. Wow, good crowd. There's Joe and the rest of the team. I don't know if some of you overlap, but I'll also introduce there's also the Yale University School of Medicine CF Center, the adult program. So there you go. I don't know if some of you guys work in both spots or not. Thank you very much, Yale. Don't forget your picture. Some good tunes. All right, that's it for the care centers. A very important part of the whole CF ecosystem. Okay, now we'd like to move on to the Great Strides. As you know, a huge source of income to help fund the research comes from Great Strides. We'd like to highlight the top 10 teams. As I mentioned, your team, come on up and get your beautiful award from Kara, and then get your picture taken. All right, so the first team, the number 1 team, I think, is it on the thing? Yeah, you can see 44,000. Great job. Sunshine for Scarlet. Is your team here? Anyone from Sunshine from Scarlet? I don't see anyone from there. Okay. The next one is Team AJ, which I happen to know about. A for Amy and J for Jason, if you're out there. My lovely bride, Deb. Don't forget to get your picture. The third one here is Paige's Purple Pirates. Are the Pirates here? So we got a pirate. Hey, matey. There you go. Way to go. How about Press for Brandon? Is the Press for Brandon? Anyone from that team here tonight? I don't see any movement, so they took the day off. And then how about Charlotte's Crusaders? Anyone from Charlotte's Crusaders here? Another team? They raised $25,000. Very, very nice. Appreciate that. How about Team Crowley? Anyone from Team Crowley here? But good job, anyway. How about the Brownie Boys? The Brownie Boys. They sound like they're little brawlers. I don't know. The Brownie, anyone here from them? I see down there. Okay. How about Strolling for Sarah? That sounds more like my kind of team. Strolling with Sarah. Anyone from here? How about the Fair Fighters? The Fair Fighters. There we go. We got a fighter. All right. Way to go, Daniel. I think we're going to see him again. Go get your picture taken. Actually, don't go too far. Hold on. The next award is the Passion Fundraising Award, which goes to Daniel Farrow, and I'll call you, come on back up, in honor of his daughter, Lucy. In support of their team, the Fair Fighters at New London Great Strides, Daniel put together a 4-mile run, which, keep note, is 3 miles longer than I want to do. And it's called Laps for Lucy. In the first year, they raised $20,000. And they're going to be doing it again this April. And congratulations to you, Daniel. And Laps for Lucy. And by the way, I think, is that Lucy's picture on the front of that pamphlet we have there? So if you want to see what Lucy looks like, that little pamphlet on your seat, that's Lucy there. Okay, Rookie of the Year Award. The Rookie of the Year Award goes to Brian Zhang. Brian got involved with the CF Foundation through the Rose Up campaign you heard about. In his first year, he successfully raised over $2,000 through hosting campus events here at Yale University and spreading CF awareness. There's Brian. He's now a member of the Tomorrow's Leaders Club, the young professionals. Brian, congratulations. Thank you so much. Inspiring others around you with all you do. Okay, we'd like to present the Race for the Cure Award. Again, these incredible runners we'll talk about here took part in a marathon, and if you took notes earlier, that's 25.2 miles longer than I want to go. Anyway, they participated in the marathon. They crossed the finish line for the CF Foundation and our life-saving mission. So we're going to start the award again. As you see, actually, the first name I'm going to mention actually ran in the Berlin Marathon in Germany. So it sounds like Daniel hasn't stopped running since the New London one. He just keeps going. Daniel Farrow, come on up. You got a lot of hardware here. You're like Taylor Swift or something. You got a lot of. Okay, these next three names, they all ran in the New York Marathon. And Orlando Petgrave, his daughter Odell was doing the piano. How about for Orlando and his daughter, though, playing the piano? Thank you, Odell. And also, Joseph Lozano. Where's Joseph? Where are you, Joe? Way to go, Joe. He's from this part of town. The Yale knows him. I was actually going to say whoever could get up here the fastest gets an extra award. And also Jonathan May. Jonathan was unable to be here tonight, but the three of them all ran the New York City Marathon. Congratulations. So the next award we heard of was the advocacy, and we've heard that many times. Dean mentioned it earlier about Fight CF with the text thing. Go do that. This particular one goes to Mike Carbonetta. Mike used to work with me when I was working with him, and people thought we were brothers. But then as time went on, they thought I was his father. But anyway, Mike first got involved with the CF Foundation as Hartford's finest honoree. Though he has no DNA connection to CF, there's Michael right there. He shares DNA with the CF community. Kindness, caring, energetic, just a giving individual. I'd like to introduce my grandson, Michael Carbonetta. Thank you, Mike. So in staying with that trend of advocacy, our next up is the Outstanding Youth Award, which goes to Luke Satalo. You know her name. Yeah, Satalino. Satalino. There we go. Luke, there's Luke. Luke's amazing big brother. He has a younger sister, Cece, who has CF. He walks with his family at the Glastonbury Great Strides. Last year, he went to Connecticut chapter with the Connecticut chapter to Capitol Hill during the Teen Advocacy Day. And he met members of Congress and advocated for CC, stressing the importance of passing our law. I don't know, Luke, were you in that picture that was there earlier? I don't know if that one that showed, you were, okay, excellent. So again, thank you, Luke, for being so young and taking on these big challenges. All right, the next award is to the Chapter Corporate Champion, which goes to People's Bank and Margaret Lenehan. Yes, there is a connection there. My sister-in-law. We cherish People's Bank for caring so much about the mission of the CF Foundation and for the years of sponsoring Rose Ball. They've been very generous to us at Rose Ball. You show care in the most meaningful and impactful way, Margaret, and for that we are so grateful. And thank you and being a great aunt to Amy and Jason as well, and for being a great support with People's Bank. So yeah, go on back, get your picture. Focus this one. The next award goes to the Community Champion, which is going to go to Crazy Bruce's Liquor and the Reach Foundation, which Mark and Wendy Wilson. We'd like to give them a huge thanks to Mark and Wendy Wilson for the team, Reach Foundation and Crazy Bruce for all the years that they've been supporting the generosity of the foundation, mainly in the memory of their niece, Laura Troncali Corbett, who I had the honor of meeting and listening to at one of the previous Harvard Finest. They're very generous people. They care so much. And we're very grateful to have them in the CF community. They've done a lot. So Mark and Wendy Wilson, I don't know if they're here tonight. I didn't see them earlier, so. But a shout out to you if you're online. All right, the next award is the Local Event Fundraising Award, which is going to go to Steve Bakes. Since 2017, Steve Bakes has put together an annual concert at the Enfield Elks. Is he here? Is that Steven there? Okay, yeah. And in Enfield, the Elks. I'm an Elks member, and I guess I wasn't paying attention. He's been doing it since 2017, and he's raised over $12,000. Had I known about it, you'd have raised $12,050. So I'm sorry. Thank you, Steve, for all you do to raise money. He continues to raise awareness for his wife Jennifer, who has CF. So in the entire, so he's a contributor, and as most of us are here today, try to give back and do our best to help move that needle closer to the cure. So. Every little bit helps, and thank you very much, Steve. And I hope to make this year's concert if you're doing it again. Is it on the schedule for this year? Excellent. All right, we're going to get on the calendar. Again, congratulations. Thank you, Steve. But this next award is called Until It's Done Award, which goes to RB Curtis. RB, we know RB. RB is a program coordinator for the Central Connecticut CF chapter, pediatrics at Connecticut Children's. Not only does RB provide care to the CF community, but she's also involved with several of the other chapter events, right, RB? We see you all the time. These volunteers at Great Stride, the Cycle for Life, Rose Ball, and the Finest. She's a true giver and really loves the CF family, and we love you too, RB. So thank you so much for all you do for CF. All right, I tried to recover some schedule. Thank you for all hustling up here. I'd like to bring Bean back up to the stage here, if you wouldn't mind, for the closing remarks. All right. And thanks, Kara, for handing out the, I guess you stay there, maybe you're not done yet.
All right, Tim, you don't need to go too far now. This is the Outreach Award. This award is given to a volunteer, or in this case, volunteers, husband and wife, who have worked to further connections, outreach, and engagement with the local community. It's my honor to present the Outreach Award to Tim and Deb Lenehan. Not enough could be said. Not enough could be said about Tim and Deb and the Lenehan family, from being the most fun-loving, as you see. Tim is hilarious. people, amazing parents to their two kids, Amy and Jason. They also have raised well over $1 million in their years of taking part in great strides. The Rose Bowl, they've been running for a few years now, and many other events. You too are truly unstoppable, and we are always in awe of everything you do to help the CF Foundation and to remain steadfast until our mission is complete, a cure for CF. Thank you and congratulations, Tim and Deb. Please come up for your award. The Hero of Hope Award. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to present the Hero of Hope Award. This award is given to a volunteer without a direct DNA connection to CF, who despite that, fundraises and raises awareness for cystic fibrosis. This individual is a pharmacist at Yale who cares deeply about serving the CF community. He's a member of the board of directors and co-chairs the Tomorrow's Leader Young Professionals program and is the congressional captain of District 3, where he advocates for the CF community. He was a former honoree at Connecticut's Finest and has since joined the volunteer leadership team. He also joined the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation Breathe team, running, as we saw a few minutes ago, in the 2023 TCS New York City Marathon, and this year, he'll be running in the Berlin Marathon. It is my pleasure to present the Hero of Hope Award to Joseph Rosano, a fierce leader with a humble heart who is committed to making CF stand for Cure Found. Joe, thank you for all you do and congratulations. We'd like to recognize those attendees who couldn't attend tonight. And they are on the screen right there for you to see. We appreciate so much all that everyone does for the CF Foundation in Connecticut. We'd also like to recognize our in-kind donors who couldn't be here tonight. The in-kind partner award goes to Coca-Cola Beverage Northeast, and the in-kind supporter recognition goes to these mentioned on the screen. I'd also like to thank everyone who joined us virtually. Thank you so much for your support and impact in the CF community. I'd like to give a special thanks to our CF stars, Tegan and Skylar. Fabulous. Our speakers tonight, excellent job, Megan. Thank you so much. Marie Egan, thank you. And to Ben Bennett, our photographer who shows up all the time whenever we need him. As we close out the evening, I'd like you to turn your attention to the screen as our friends living with CF share what they are most excited about in 2024.
This year, I'm excited to go on more travel adventures.
I'm excited to grow in my career as a computer programmer and also to further develop my skills as a landscape photographer.
Hi, we're the Acquaintance family.
And we're excited for modulators, especially for the rare mutations.
I'm excited to attend my son's white coat ceremony, marking his 3rd year as a dental student. Because of the CF Foundation and the incredible research it has funded, my son is living the life he's always envisioned for himself. transforming his life from once being a patient into becoming a doctor himself one day.
I'm excited about the promise that genetic therapies bring to everyone with CF.
I'm most excited about being able to breathe and being alive and to take wonderful winter hikes.
I'm excited for the birth of our first little baby.
I'm excited that my 39-year-old daughter is able to return to her profession as a speech and language pathologist after 9 years on disability. Trikafta has stabilized her health enough for her to return to work, and I'm so excited to watch her thrive in 2024.
I'm excited to spend more time with my friends and family and more time doing things outdoors.
I'm excited that my son is turning 20 years old this year and that he's happy, healthy, and thriving.
I am excited that the life expectancy for those with CF continues to increase every year.
Hello, we're the Medrano family, and this is Javier, a CF warrior. We live in Washington State.
The reason we're most excited for 2024 is to be able to attend the Volunteer Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C., and to be part of the March on the Hill to represent my son and others with cystic fibrosis.
Hello, my name is Juan Javier. I'm excited to go to Disney World for this year.
Bye.
Bye.
What a great video, and we're all looking forward to a healthy and happy and long future for all of the patients with cystic fibrosis. Thank you to all of our supporters, donors in kind, donors, dedicated volunteers and supporters, and a special thanks to each of you for joining us this evening in person and to those of you joining us virtually. Good night, everybody.